Hey guys, welcome back to Healthy Living Sessions, where we talk about more than just health and fitness, because life is about more than that. It's about a balance. And today we are still going on with our 10X series, where I'm talking about the 10X growth con and some of the notes and takeaways I've taken from it. And a lot of you have requested to hear about this, so I'm excited to share it, and I hope that you can gain a lot of knowledge from it. And please make sure to ask questions about this. I want to make sure I'm covering things and explaining them well enough so you can understand what I'm talking about, and hopefully my viewpoint of this will inspire you to do more of whatever it is you're trying to do. And so today we're talking about how pressure is a privilege. So one of the things Grant Cardone said was commit first, figure the rest out later. And now I think this is probably the greatest kind of pressure ever, because now you've committed to something. You have no idea how you're going to do it, but you've already committed. I mean, what do you do besides actually do it now? So you've committed to whatever that may be, and now you've just got to do it. So now you've created this pressure. And I believe it was Steve Harvey that said, pressure is a privilege. If you don't have it, find some. And how awesome is that? Because when you have pressure behind you, it really spurs you to do things. And of course, we think of the analogy is probably used a lot of times of pressure is about making a diamond. You have to have a bunch of pressure in order to make a diamond. So it's just what we're talking about here is pressure. Make sure you keep applying that pressure, because it's eventually going to make something happen. It's going to make a great jewel of yourself. You will become a diamond, so to say. So make sure you keep putting some kind of pressure like that on you. And then again, we talked about this last episode about speeding up the process. So the more you speed up this process, the more you try and speed it up, the more pressure you're going to find on yourself. And it's going to be a good pressure, though. Don't speed it up so much that you literally can't get things done, but make sure that you do try and speed up the process some, so that way you're actually putting a little pressure on yourself to actually get things keep moving along, because it's human nature. We like to slack off from time to time, or all the time, just depends, Netflix and chill, but we tend to not put that pressure on ourselves. So speed up that process. Maybe you have to set a higher date. You committed to one date, so just, I don't know, July 1st. Now let's say, oh, no, we're doing June 1st. So you put that pressure on you because you sped up that process just because of that. So make sure you're speeding up the process if you need to, if you feel like you're not really working that hard to get to whatever that end goal is for you. Next, if you got too much going on, add something. This is something I've been trying to apply to my life. I feel like I do have a lot going on, but I add a little bit more. And that just creates even more pressure, makes you realize what is actually the most important things. So when you have that extra pressure on you, you're like, well, I better get these things done. And if you're really trying to get them all done, which you should be if they're all on your plate, then it just puts that much more pressure on you, because you're like, well, now I've got to fit this in. And by having additional things on your plate, it gives you less time to think that you can slack off and enjoy some time relaxing, which, yes, there is a time and place for that. I'm not saying that you should work 24/7 and never get rest, not get enough adequate rest, never be able to take some downtime or anything like that. But by adding more to your plate, it helps you push through and do those things that you wanted to do, plus the additional things that you now have added to your plate. All right, next point. Where your time and money goes, you will follow. So if you're spending money on something, that's going to put some pressure on you to go get that thing done. So if it's new camera equipment for podcasting or vlogging or whatever it may be, or you bought some new gym equipment, now like, oh, I spent all this money on these things, I better start doing them, or if you for a vacation, but you went ahead and spent the money on vacation, but you have to get these certain things done before you go on that vacation. You've got a lot of pressure on you now because you put money towards something. So if you want to actually be able to go do that and enjoy that, or get in that better shape, or be able to do better filming, have better, the better equipment now, you better be on your A game to do that. So that's, part of what this is. Where your time and money goes, you will follow. So if your time gets wasted on this, you're going off in that direction. So if you're wasting time on Netflix, you're going off in the direction of just watching Netflix. If you're spending money on going out to eat, well, that's where your money's going, and you're probably going to see your weight go up if you're really eating bad when you go out to eat. Just things like that. So think about that. If you start spending money on things, your time and money, you're going to start following that time and money that you spend on whatever those things are. So it doesn't have to be necessarily money or time. It can be both, or it can be one or the other. So, but as you spend more time and or money in that one area, you're going to follow that. And last thing, I'd rather have a good plan insistently executed upon than a great plan formulated in the future. So it's kind of to do with pressure. Again, to commit first and figure it out later. Just have a good plan. Like what I like to do when I make plans is to do like a skeleton plan. I don't want to sit here and plan out every detail, dot every I, cross every T. I just want to have bare bones. Hey, this is here's where I'm at. Here's where I want to go. Here's some things in the middle that I think will get me there. Let's go. I know there's a lot of people that's very frustrating. My fiance is one of those. They get so frustrated because I'm just like, oh yeah, I want to go do that. Let's go. And then I figure out as I go. And she is so much about planning it out, figuring out exactly what she needs. And I know there's so many more people out there, but sometimes you just need that pressure of committing first and then figuring it out as you go. And so same thing here. And the biggest key here is not good versus a great plan, but the insistently executed versus formulated in the future. So, what Grant was saying here is that he'd rather just make, a good plan, like a skeleton plan, and start executing insistently and really going after it versus trying to make this very great plan that's foolproof, and yet he keeps having to work on it and tweak it to make it a great plan, and it just keeps being put off into the future. So that's the great thing with the pressure. Pressure is a privilege. If you don't think so, you really do need to get some more, because you're really missing out. Once you have that pressure behind you, so many greater things happen. So make sure whatever you're doing, you're committing first and figuring it out as you go. Essentially, that's what Grant's saying. Commit first, figure it out as you go. I promise you're gonna be able to get so many more things done by doing that. Now, if you got a friend that feels like they can't have any kind of pressure, have them watch this video or listen to this podcast. I know some of these things I've said may make them realize, man, I need to be more like that. Because once you commit first and then figure it out as you go, you will notice you will do so many more things than just waiting till you have this perfect plan. That perfect plan is never gonna come. It doesn't matter how much you plan, things are not gonna go the way you want them. So why not just go ahead and get started and figure it out as you go? And I guarantee you're gonna learn so much more rather than Googling every single thing in order to get you to where you need to go. So commit first and figure it out as you go. If you have a friend that needs to hear this message, needs to get a little pressure put on them to commit first and stop making all these great plans and never making any moves happen, have them watch this. Tell them about this. Share it with your friends. Leave a comment. Please leave me a review as well. Let me know what you think. Subscribe to this podcast or this YouTube video, whichever version you're on, and have a healthy and blessed